Everyone, welcome once again to Vicious Chats. I am Tim Vicious. With me today, she is a good witch. She is an anime queen. Please give it up for the oh so lovely Miss Shayla Hyde. How you doing?
I'm doing good, a little tired, but I'm doing good regardless, which is a bonus for days. So,
I know the feeling. I can't think of a day where I don't run on unhealthy amounts of caffeine. Cause it's
right?
like, yeah, cause let's see, I have like 2 cups of Death Wish in the morning. That's
Holy,
just to that's just to get the brain. That's just to shake the cobwebs out. And then by like the middle of the day, I'm either reaching for another cup or I'll grab like a bang.
I've actually cut back on caffeine. It's weird though because I have a reason I cut back on it, but it's so weird because I'm used to having that caffeine. I actually had a coffee espresso drink today, and Lordy, I'm like, I don't know what to do because I was so tired. I'm like, I need an energy, so I guess I'll just do this and got it. And now I'm just let's go, let's
Now
go,
you're
let's
all
go.
wired like I can see noises.
I can see noises. I can see words.
Actually, it's
Like
actually it's funny. What was it? About a couple months ago, my one brother, he was he was asking like how can me and my sister stomach drinking Death Wish because I got her hooked on it, and he was like, I can't see on why you guys would drink that stuff. You work as a nurse in a hospital in a major busy unit. How do you not run on that kind of caffeine? I'm
yeah,
fine, I'll try it. Okay, but you're drinking the whole cup. I ain't wasting none of this. You ain't wasting none of my coffee. He had it, and about maybe a half hour later, he was sitting in the corner like, I think I'm having heart palpitations. Me and my sister just looked at him. You lightweight. We drink 2 or 3 of those just in the morning.
I am a lightweight. I do not like. It's so weird. I don't like the smell of coffee. I hate it actually. I hate the smell of coffee.
Hey, to each their own. I won't judge. I've been drinking since I was like 8 years old. I had really wicked bad asthma as a kid. So I would get winded and gashed real fast just running up and down the block. So it was always, if I didn't have my inhaler right on me, I would have to drink a cup of straight black coffee, and then my parents would make me do a breathing treatment.
Uh, I had a friend who actually, since we're on the topic of caffeine, not even my friend, my twin used to down monsters all the time in middle school and high school. And she'd get mad because I'm like, how do you drink that? And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, that's so much caffeine. Like, you don't do anything. You go home and sleep. How do you drink that much caffeine and sleep? It was bad. Like, I'm talking about like 2 to 4 cans of Monster almost daily. And I'm like, that is
Jesus.
so unhealthy. And that's too much caffeine the body should not be taking in.
Yeah, I mean, like I may drink an unhealthy amount, but I space it out, and I also pump a crap ton of water in me during the day because it's a dilator. Because caffeine's a dilator.
Yeah, my twin, she it's funny because she's supposed to drink water. I mean, everyone's supposed to drink water, but she is supposed to drink water all the time because of an issue with her medical stuff, and she doesn't, and it always confuses me because I'm like, you live in Texas, it's hot. Why are you drinking a
Yeah,
Dr. Pepper? Like, drink some water. Like, how? Like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like, I don't understand that.
yeah,
And
and
kind of thing.
yeah, and given also your profession, I was now that we get to the one part, you're a wrestler, so given your profession also, you figure you're going to need a every now and then you're going to need a shot of adrenaline, so to say. But what got you initially into wrestling? Like, was there like one particular match, or did you see a show and just, or was it just like a slow and steady thing?
Well, I've been told a couple different stories, but my mom said it was when I was like 4 or 5. I don't know. Maybe I was just like traumatized as a kid. I don't know. She was flipping through the channels and just so happened to run by WWE. And I begged her, I'm like, wait, go back. I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see that. So I convinced her to go back. She grew up watching it. So not like WWE. Obviously, it was not WWE when she was watching it. But she grew up watching wrestling. And what had happened is when I saw what was going on, I'm like, I can get paid to beat up people. So from there, I'm like, I want to do that. I want to get paid to kick some ass. Okay, like I want that. It kind of branched from there, and then I had oh my god, if my surgeon ever for some reason sees this, I'm so sorry. Don't yell at me. I had snapped my arm in half November 19th, right before I was turning 16. And by February or so of the following year, I'm still technically not supposed to put any weight on my arm. I'm already training to wrestle.
Oh.
And I'm like, if my surgeon knew I was doing this, he would probably be lecturing the hell out of my mom. Like, why are you letting her do this? And it's kind of like, because I want to do it. Like, I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing as soon as my cast was off. Like, I didn't even have a cast. It was so weird. I had like
What, they give you like a half cast?
no, it was not even a cast. It like, like cast is like plaster. It wasn't even that.
Yeah.
It was like like those things that you can put on your, like those hard things that you can put on your hands.
Oh, the wrist, like those wrist splints, like you see bowlers wear.
Yeah, it was kind of like that, but it was like thicker. And when my mom's like,
Oh.
and this is the confusing part. My mom was like, why isn't she in a cast? And the surgeon goes, oh, she didn't break it severe enough for a cast.
But what?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean I didn't break it? My arm was a Z. I finished the alphabet. Like my arm was a Z. Literally, it was like this is the arm I broke. My arm was like this, and then went up like this and that way. So it was a legit Z. How?
Oh, I'm getting phantom pain hearing that.
Oh, it's great. We have such a messed up joke with it. I always say the doctor screwed me 12 times and didn't even take me to dinner first.
I get that. I was like 11. I broke this thumb. I fell, and the way I landed, my thumb landed like that, and it was a clean snap right on the inside. The docs just chalked it up to a hairline sprain and had me in a half cast for like 3 months. So now this one is like, it never got realigned properly. So now it's like, you can see I could pop it in and out.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
it's all. Yeah, it never got realigned when it got done, when it broke. So they just looked at the X-ray and said, "Oh, it's just a minor hairline sprain. He'll be fine. He needs a half cast." And all 12 years old of me, I don't know any better. I'm just going off of what the docs say. My parents are looking like, really, this guy's saying this?
I love that because I had to take an ambulance ride. It's the only time I've been in an ambulance because I broke my arm at cheerleading practice. So this was at school. And my mom beat the ambulance to the hospital. She had to go home because my cheerleading coach said, you go home, text me the address, I'll pick you up, and then we'll go from there. And I actually remember the week I broke my arm because I was a flyer. And for those who aren't familiarized with cheerleading terms, a flyer means I'm the one who gets thrown up in the air. My bases kept dropping me. I smoked my head like 3 times in a week because they weren't catching me. And then I broke my arm. And then my stepdad at the time, when he found out, he goes, can't they learn to fucking catch her already? And my mom's like, no, she broke it doing a back handspring. And he goes, oh, so she rushes to the thing, the paramedic, they're trying to stabilize my arm so they can transport me. The paramedic is like leaning in to like dead ass, like leaning in to start getting it ready for transport. And obviously this was November. I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is in November. Halloween just passed. My mom's ringer was a blood-curdling scream.
Oh my God.
As this poor paramedic is trying to stabilize my arm, my mom gets a call. And he jumps back. He goes, I didn't touch her. I didn't touch her. I didn't. Like, he's freaking out because he thought it came from me. Because, I mean, this was in a cafeteria, so obviously it's echoing. Well, my mom, I don't know what my mom said. My mom says she told my stepdad, because I have a new stepdad, but this stepdad, she told him, so and so is going to meet me at the house. We're going to go to the hospital, and they beat the ambulance to the hospital, but I left like 10-15 minutes earlier than they did. We get to the ER, and the physician gave me Tylenol for pain. And then kept telling my mom, oh, it's not broken. It's broken. It's not broken. And I'm like, where did you go to medical school at? Are bones supposed to look like a Z? Like, I'm confused. I know I'm only like a fucking 8th grader, but I'm pretty sure my bone's not supposed to look like a Z.
Yeah.
And then that was literally 2 days before my 16th birthday. And then when I had surgery and we finally got in communication with the surgeon, the surgeon's like, well, what pain reliever did they put her on? And my mom went, Tylenol. My surgeon went, they put this girl on Tylenol for a severe broken arm. My mom goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm putting her on Vicodin. I don't remember that Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Pretty sure Vikes have that effect on people.
Yeah, it's like
I had to take them when I got my wisdom teeth taken out. So yeah, I don't remember much of when I had my wisdom teeth out, except that when I woke up, it hurt.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of teeth, I still have a baby tooth.
Oh, my grandmom had all her baby teeth until she passed. I don't know how she did. She had all of her baby teeth.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know how rare that was because my dentist plain out told me it's really rare for people to have their baby teeth. And I only have one. I only have one baby tooth. And she's like, it's very rare for adults to have their baby teeth. And that's just one. So I'm like.
So do you ever think like maybe you should have like a mouth guard to protect it when you get in a ring or anything, or?
No, because she checked it and she goes, I don't know how, but this thing is in there. Like, I don't think it's going to come out. The only way it's going to come out is if it's forced out. And I'm like, well, I do wrestling. And she goes, do you ever get kicked in the face? And I'm like, sometimes. I had to think about it for a minute. Like, have I been kicked in the face? I'm like, sometimes.
Wait. Maybe there was that show last week when oh yeah, that's right. And then I took that boot and then and all this happened.
It all makes sense now. Like,
yeah.
Perfect sense. Like, yay, I get kicked in the face. I kick people in the face, but I get kicked in the face too. It's a give and take.
You got to do that. Yeah, it's all part of the show, right? So when you first started wrestling, when you first started your training, like, did they know that your arm was all jacked up like that, or were they like, all right, let's take it easy on the kid, or were they just like, nah, you're gonna run the ropes and do all the same work as everyone. We ain't gonna pussyfoot you.
They modified the way I took certain things until my arm was fully healed, because I still had a high risk of re-breaking it, because the bone was like, okay, so I have 2 metal plates in my left arm and then 6 screws on each bone on my forearm. So if you watch any of my previous matches, you'll notice I never throw with my left arm. Well, basically what had happened is that they would modify the way I was learning how to take bumps. So when I would take a bump, I would have to go like this arm would be back like this, and then this arm would straighten out. And then afterwards is when I would put that arm down. And then after my arm was completely healed is when they had me actually doing it, because they knew it still caused me a lot of pain to do things. So
yeah, just like to just go and try and do a straight flat back?
Yeah, because
All
the
right.
bone hitting the wood. I mean, people are like, "Oh, wrestling's fake. Wrestling's fake." It's the adrenaline.
Mm.
It's the adrenaline. I had to go. Hang on. I was taking a hip toss from one of my trainers, and my trainer at the time was well over 6 foot. Okay, I'm 5'1". Okay, so I am not tall in the slightest. And he gave me a hip toss. And this was after my arm had healed, and I'm like, my training took so long, and I don't understand why. Like, I understand why, but then again, I don't understand why because it didn't make any sense to me. But, I was young. I was like 16, 17 years of age. So I'm kind of like, I want to get in the ring. I want to start doing shows. I want to start getting my name out there. Well, he did it, and my vertebrae, like one of my vertebrae up at the top of my back, had turned.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I landed, I don't even know how I did it. I landed and I instantly felt pain in my back, and my mom's sitting there. She's like rubbing it because, I'm still a minor. So she's sitting there rubbing it, and she feels a knot. And every time she touch it, I'd go like, I'm wincing, and I'm like inhaling sharply because of the,
From the pain?
yeah. And took me to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor was like, how are you walking right now? I'm like, at this point, I'm just starting to think my body is just an anomaly.
An anomaly?
Yeah. Like that.
That's all right. I something like that happened to me. Something similar like that happened to me like about 10 plus years ago. I was at the gym and I was doing squats, and I didn't have nothing heavy on. I just had 25 on each side. I'm doing them 1, 2, 3, 4, pop. I feel a pop in my lower back, and I'm paralyzed. I got no feeling from my hips down, and I'm sweating bullets because I can't move, and my throat dried out. I can't scream for help or nothing. And I'm just sitting there like, it felt like eternity, but it was like maybe 15 seconds at the most. And then I started to get this warm rush in the inside of my leg, and I was like, oh, thank God, I'm getting feeling again. It hurts, but I loved it. Clink, got to put the rack down, sat for a minute to catch my breath, like, yeah, I can't. I screwed up. I got to go. I pack up. I could barely walk to the locker room to get changed, and getting changed took like 15 minutes. And then I called my dad. I was like, Pop, I need help. I fucked my back up bad. All right, where are you at? I'm going to be over at so-and-so. All right, I'll pick you up. He picks me up. My mom says, here, let me try working your back for you. I lay flat on it. She's kneading it, and it's my lower back area. She's like, how did you get home? Dad got me. Where'd he get you? Over at the mall. How the hell did you get there? I walked. You physically couldn't have. I'm feeling this right now. There is no way you should be able to walk right now. I don't know what I have to tell you, but I did. Yeah. So it's after that, I had to go to fast track. They said I got degenerative disc disease, and I herniated the disc. And so between seeing a chiropractor and doing DDP yoga on a regular basis, that's pretty much the only thing. That's pretty much what keeps me from being stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah, my husband actually does DDP yoga. He's trying to get me to do it, but I'm like, I like the yoga that makes me tired at night because I was diagnosed with insomnia, so I don't sleep very well. So if I'm going to do things that like yoga, because yoga, in my opinion, is meant for relaxation. Like, no knock in the DDP yoga. You want to do DDP yoga, that's on you. I like my yoga relaxing, so I'm going to do the relaxing yoga.
That's fair. Whatever works best for you. That's always been my philosophy. Whatever works best for you. If that's what goes for you, by all means. So once you're fully all set and healed up, you start on wrestling. One thing I wanted to ask you, not many people, I'm not sure if many people are aware of this, but when WWE did the draft a couple years back, You were one of the first girls Nia Jax went against when she made her Raw debut.
Was I
Well,
really? I thought it was
yeah,
a couple years after the fact. Oh Lord.
I'm pretty sure it was a little after, but I know you were definitely one of the first girls because that was when they had her doing her major squash runs. Because it was right at that time. It was Nia would have a squash match, and then there'd be like 2 or 3 segments, and then Braun Strowman would have a squash match, and it
Huh.
was almost like, and they were almost like mirror.
Yeah,
But
well,
what
I
was
know it
it?
was
So,
when
like, when did you get the call for that, or was it like they were just like, "Hey, we need somebody"? Oh, I know a girl. Give me a minute.
I actually got an email and it was 6 weeks prior to the event because you have to get a physical and then you have to get what is it, like a physical, you have to go do drug testing because they don't want anyone in there who's doing drugs. um so I knew about 6 weeks prior, but I didn't know I was facing her until the day of.
So you knew they just wanted to have you come in. If for all you know, for all you knew, they could have just had you be like a random person's in backstage and catering while they filmed a fight or whatever.
Yeah, because it was so I can't speak for every um like WWE extra thing. Like I can't speak for everything that goes on, but that one in particular, it was me and one other girl. So there was only 2 females there for the extras, and then the rest were all men. And I actually remember it pretty vividly because it was the weekend of Fastlane. So I was at Fastlane too. Like I was behind, like backstage for Fastlane. And basically what had happened was this makes me so mad. The guys there, I'm not going to drop names, but a couple of the guys there were bitching. Mind you, the guys got used on Fastlane. A lot of them did. Like none of the girls got used on Fastlane. Me or the other girl, we didn't get used on Fastlane. Only one of us could be used that entire time I was there. They were bitching because I was used for a match. And they're like, she's going to get paid more than me. She's going to get this. She's going to get that. And all I'm thinking is, so me congratulating you guys the day before for getting used, and you guys are just throwing a bitch fit because I'm being used now? Like,
Yeah,
you should
that's
be happy.
yeah. I
Girls,
mean, if anything,
yeah, well, at the time, girls didn't really get used very often for extra stuff.
yeah,
So,
and that was just as they were transitioning from having girls being like arm candy and bringing them
yeah,
actually into doing matches.
yeah. So it's kind of like, what's the big deal? Like, I understand you guys are mad that I'm getting used for a match, but you guys got used as paramedics. That's like, you're out there. I was out there for 15 seconds, guys. 30 seconds max. Okay, 30 seconds max. You guys were out there for over a minute.
Yeah. And not only that, an old Dusty-ism was like, you make the most of whatever time you got. If you got if you are only getting 10 seconds of TV time, make the most of that 10 seconds.
Yeah,
If you
well,
got 5 minutes, make the most of that 5 minutes.
yeah, and I think, and this is the thing I think actually aggravated them was because I heard them talking shit prior to my match. And like, how to describe it? Like I was shaking, I was nervous, I was scared, and the only thing I was thinking about was my brother. And us, I can't ever say her name, but she went by Paige. She had actually was looking for water. She couldn't find where the water was at. And, I just spoke up. I'm like, oh, I know where it's at. I can just take you to where I know where water is at. So I was talking with her and we were walking. Well, that pissed them off, the other extras, because they're like, why is she talking with her? And then they got more mad because then I was talking with Mickey James, Alicia Fox, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, Bailey, John Cena. I'm like, I don't
You
know.
went out of your way to go and help them, and in turn, they were like, "Oh, hey, yeah, hey, come over here, hang out for a minute."
Yeah, they were kind of
That's
like,
a
okay,
good
here,
thing.
girl. Like, yeah, and then the face I had, like, the face I had when I had, when they showed me first on camera, when Nia Jax came out, it was actually because this is so bad. I actually got scared, not because of Nia, but because of what happened right before I left Gorilla, like right before I actually walked out to the ring. Because I'm sitting there and I was trained like mouth shut, ears open. So you listen. So I'm sitting there and I'm just waiting until John Cone, which was the ref for the match, takes me out there. And I always mess up his name. I don't know why I feel so bad, but he was part of the Fabulous Freebirds.
Michael
And
Hayes.
yes, yes, he was there, and I want to say like we were all in Gorilla, and I was behind. He hasn't wrestled for him in so long. I want to say his name was like Drew. It wasn't Drew McIntyre. I know that, but he was like a short blonde guy. Like, I was behind him, and then all of a sudden, Michael Hayes goes, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, I didn't know he was talking to me. I was confused because I didn't even realize he could see me. Because I'm used to being the shortest one in the room. I didn't realize he could even see me, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes, well, I couldn't even say anything because Bailey just went, "Oh, she's the extra." And he goes, "What's your name?" And I went, "Vespa." Obviously, that doesn't sound like a real name. So it's like, it's on my birth certificate, I promise. And he goes, "Like the moped?" And I went, "I guess that's what some people say." And he goes, "I hate mopeds." And then turned around and I'm like,
Oh man.
"Oh, like, are you kidding me?" But it was great because after that, yeah, it was great because then Alicia Fox and Mickey James would be like they're yelling, they're like, "Bye Vespa, beep beep," and they're like moving down, going yelling, "Beep beep 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 beep." It was funny as fuck. Well, basically, anytime I'm back and Michael Hayes is there, he always makes a comment and he'll like give me like a little side hug. So I know he's joking. He's just like ribbing me and stuff. And he always makes a joke about my name. So, but yeah, that face I gave was because he scared me. Like, I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, "Oh fuck, like I just fucked it up. Like, what? I didn't do anything." And I was sitting there and I'm like, "Oh my God, what the hell did I just do? Like, what did I do to deserve that? Like, I didn't do anything. I swear I was being good. I was being a good noodle, And then just, so that face where I'm like my brain is thinking of that. And then I get back there and, John Cone takes me to Vince McMahon and he's fucking smiling. And I'm like, "Don't you smile. When you smile, things happen. Don't you smile." You traumatize the whole group of kids because the last, like, anytime you smiled, something was happening. So luckily, it was a good thing. Vince McMahon was surprisingly nice because, he comes off like he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So I thought he was going to be mad because I'm thinking, like, I fucked something up. And he shook my hand and he goes, "You did a good job." And I'm like, "Thank you." And then it had to be Monday Night Raw because I remember I was the next day was SmackDown because I did Fastlane, Raw, and then SmackDown. And I remember specifically the stars on SmackDown had watched the match on Raw. So they were like, "You were the one who faced Nia last night, right?" And I went, "Yeah." And I'm sitting here thinking I'm gonna get like reamed or something, like, "Oh God, did I fuck something up?" Because I have that anxiety and I'm constantly like doubting myself. And basically, they're like, "You made her look like a beast," and I'm like, I got complimented. I was like so happy because they're like, "You did a good job. You actually made it look like she hurt you. Like, you did it so well." To the point that when I got back, Nia actually came and found me and was like, "Hey, you okay?" Because this was back when everyone was like saying, "Oh, Nia's so unsafe. She
And that,
hurts
I
everyone."
was going to ask you on that also, because that was right around when they were saying she's reckless, careless, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff. But, you know, when I saw it was you on there, I was like, wait a sec. Is that, I know her. I know her.
Yeah, a
And my
lot of
son,
people.
yeah, and my son, he was like maybe 5 or 6 at the time. He's 15 now. But he was like 5 or 6 at the time, and he was like, "You do?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I showed him like your page, and he was like, "And you talk to her?" Every now and again, you know, it's not like we say something on a regular basis. He was like, "And she's gonna go against Nia? Oh no, she's gonna get hurt." The mind of a 5-year-old. He was five. He was like 5 or 6 at the time. Like, oh no,
Yeah,
no, no,
it
no,
was.
no, she'll be all right. She'll be all right.
Yeah, it's like
But yeah,
she'll be fine. Well, she came and she asked me. She's like, "Hey, how'd everything feel?" And I actually remember it because when she pinned me, she actually said, she said thank you. Like you can't hear it because she whispered it so low. I barely heard it, but I remember her saying it. And then she asked if everything felt fine. She's like, "You okay? You doing good?" John Cone did the same thing when he was leading me back, and he's like, "You doing okay? Was everything fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything felt great. Like I'm fine." And yeah, it was just so insane because I'm like, and then it made me mad because I'm getting online and like an article completely fucked it up because they're like uh Detroit residents, and I'm like, I don't live in Detroit. Like
yeah.
I don't live in Detroit. Like
Did they not hear you speak before you stepped into the ring? I mean, you got you got that Texas accent going.
yeah, I'm like I live in Michigan, but I don't live in Detroit. And I'm like the person who wrote the article didn't bother like reaching out because my tweet I had made after it was I didn't really go into detail, but I don't even remember what I did to be honest. I'd have to look it up. I could probably find it. But I had to actually go in and I had
All the
actually
information in the world,
yeah,
right at the palm of our hands, right?
yeah, what was it? It was like something about my brother and stuff because my brother was my biggest
Although,
supporter, and um, he had died before I was able to be seen on WWE, and I remember I was like, because I had a picture of my brother with wings, with me. Because I wouldn't make it seem like, I mean, it was stupid. But I mean, most people would think it was stupid, but it was comforting. Like, I had a picture of my brother with me. And I remember going back to where the women's, like the extra talent was changing. And I started crying. And I actually, because I didn't have any service in the arena. Like, I had no service. So after the show and everything, and then I left and I rode up there with somebody because he was an extra. And after I left, my phone is going off the hook. Like I'm getting texts from family members. I'm getting like messages on Instagram, Facebook, getting tagged and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? And I had,
welcome to the big times, right?
right? And I had a text message from my sister-in-law, and she's like, I need you to call me as soon as you get this. And I called her, and she goes, you need to explain to Monkey that you're fine, because that's what I call my nephew. It's my brother's son. And I had to explain to him, no, I'm fine. Baba's fine. I'm not hurt. I'm okay. And he goes, are you sure? And he's crying. He's still crying. And this was like an hour later. He's so upset because he thought I was actually hurt. And I had to reassure him I was fine. But I remember it because I was just like in the extras locker room just crying so hard. And I'm sitting there and I'm like tapping my face, trying not to get the makeup to go down. And just like looking at the picture of my brother, and I'm like, we're getting closer, Josh. Like, look, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do what we always said that I do and everything. But then it was like shortly after that, people were like, Nia, it's so unsafe. And I'm like, so is she only safe with the extras then? Because I'm confused. Like, she was safe with me.
Yeah, I mean, I get some people can wind up getting a little headstrong and might accidentally hurt someone. I mean, I did backyard stuff from the time I was 12 until I was 27. And we would work out our stuff beforehand. We would work out our matches beforehand. And every now and then we'd get a little stiff with each other. Afterwards, be like, dude, do you have to hit me that hard? Hey, sorry, man. It was just a moment. It's all good. You
Yeah,
know, it was never like anything we were ever trying to headhunt for legit.
I had a what is it? I had a
Excuse me.
you're good. What was I gonna say?
Oh, see the cop threw you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
on
like,
me.
oh, I remember what it was now. I had a couple matches for this promotion, and it made me mad because I was the first female really part of the women's division there. I was told I was winning the belt. I was the fan favorite, but then two girls were telling the promoter I was unsafe in the ring. I was stiff all the time, but they weren't. And I kept telling the promoter, I'm like, look at the video. They stiffed me multiple times. I told them to lighten up and they didn't, so I cold cocked them. It's called a receipt. Bitch bought a purchase and I gave them the receipt for it. Like, what do you want me to do?
Right? I mean, that even wrestling aside, that's just like rule on the street. I grew up in South Philly. You know, somebody goes and starts messing with you like that, you know, you got to pop them back.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're just going to keep walking all over you with that.
Well, I had one girl kick me so hard in the abdomen that I'm pretty sure she gave me a bone bruise or something because I couldn't bend
Oof.
or anything. And then when I'm like, this same girl
Oof.
also gave me a massive concussion. Didn't even bother to help me out. Like, I'm sorry if I've ever accidentally hurt my opponent. I always make sure they're okay. Like, I'm like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you need water? Do you want me to help take your bags to your car? No, I didn't get this. I actually remember this because after, like, I don't even know if the match is still available on YouTube, to be honest. If you go and watch the match, you can see the moment where the lights go out in my eyes, like on my face and everything. And like, I'm still moving, but you can clearly tell that the brain ain't there. And we get to the back and I remember getting under because I was trying to get away from the sound and I'm like under this table and I'm going like this and I'm like, my fucking head hurts. Finally, one of the guys in the back, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, my head hurts. She kicked me right in the head and it wasn't light. It was hard. Like she threw the shit out of that kick. And basically what had happened was she was like apologetic about it. I want to say because it wasn't like it to me. It didn't come off as a genuine apology. I had to go to the ER that night, and she just went, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick you that hard." Okay, but now you do realize I don't live in Ohio. I have like a 2.5, 3 hour drive home. And I understand like accidents happen, but they're accidents because it didn't seem intentional. But when you're like bypassing what you did, that seems more like it was intentional.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and that's just like one instance. And this all happened at the same company. But the promoter kept trying to tell me that I'm too stiff. I hurt the girls. I do this, but every time I'm telling him, look, like I have the evidence that I got a massive concussion because she kicked me. Well, that's just how she was trained.
so
What?
you're saying she got trained to go and hurt, right? What?
Like, okay,
That
so
is some.
she got trained to go and hurt, but I receipt someone for hitting me too hard after I told them to lighten up, and I'm dubbed untrained.
Wow.
Like, I remember I was in a match with one girl. She doesn't wrestle anymore. And I accidentally stiffed her and I know she was bleeding. And I pulled her in. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm like, I'm so sorry. If you hit me back, I will completely understand. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to hit you that hard. Like, I immediately apologized. But she went back and said that I didn't apologize. I didn't do anything. Like, I'm way too unsafe. I keep stiffing her. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And mind you, this was when I first started wrestling. And it made me mad because I had actually asked if I could get a pay raise and everything because I'm like, hey, I need more money because like gas isn't cheap. Like everything I make from this show goes straight to the tank. I'm like, I'm not making anything. I'm taking days off of work. Like I should be making more money. I don't pay anyone over $20. Okay, so you had someone come in from Pennsylvania close to New York and you only paid them $20? What? And he actually told me, he's like, well, see, because I was giving a ride to another worker who doesn't live like in the same town as me, but I drive through where they live to get to the show. And he's like, just ask them if they can help with gas. Why not pay your talent more? You pay your local guys a hell of a lot more than you pay the people who are coming from different states. And then it was funny because this same promoter actually hit me up on my like page and asked if I could work his show. And when I told him, because this was several years down the road, and I told him, well, this is my fee. I can't afford that. Then you can't afford me, honey. I'm not changing my fee for a promoter who wouldn't even hear me out when I'm sitting here saying like, no, this girl gave me a massive concussion. I've never caused any brain injuries to any of the girls there, and I'm deemed unsafe. I'm deemed I have to train. I'm deemed this, and this, yet these girls are perfectly fine. I'm like, make it make sense. I'm not going to change my pricing just to match your ego.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. It's know your worth and know your value. If you're putting out, and I'm pulling arbitrary numbers out, if you feel like you're worth $50 an hour, and you put out that kind of work to show you earn that much, don't go settling for like 10.50 or whatever or something like. And I just use those as like examples. That's just me, and that's on how my mindset's always been.
Yeah, I'm actually learning this in my personal life as well, because at my current job, I'm actually looking for another place of employment because at my current job, this makes me so mad. I actually got a text from her because the owner's mad at me, but I'm like, how's that salt taste in that wound? But I found out I was getting paid almost $2 less than somebody. I'm supposed to be the manager. I'm getting paid $2 less than somebody who doesn't even do half the shit I do.
Yeah, I remember you putting out something on that the other day.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, how in the ever loving hell?
Yeah. And I'm like, because she got mad because I know how to work her computer. So I already knew how much two people were getting paid. So I'm like, is anybody else getting paid more than the manager's supposed to be getting paid? So I went in and looked, and she's like, she texted me. She's like, why'd you tell everybody how much everybody gets paid? I never said how much everybody got paid. Everybody was discussing it because they're starting to realize that we're all doing the same shit, but everyone has different pay. That's not on me. And she's going to get mad because that's why I'm going to text her after I'm done with this. I'm literally going to be like, I didn't tell everybody how much everybody's getting paid. Okay. For one, you hired a bunch of high schoolers and you're paying two of them under $5 an hour. And then the other one's not even getting paid minimum wage. And then you have two more people who aren't getting paid minimum wage. And then you have two people who are getting paid more than someone who's supposed to be your manager. Eventually this was going to come out. Like, that's not on me. You can't, and she's going to get mad because I'm literally telling her, I'm like, I didn't tell everybody how much everybody got paid. We started discussing it when they asked me how come I was so pissed off. And I said, because I do the most work out of all of the employees, but I'm not paid the most. I'm sorry. Because I work in a restaurant and it's like a mom and pop restaurant. So I'm not expecting, oh, I should be getting paid $16, $20 an hour. I'm not thinking that at all because I know it's unrealistic for a mom and pop shop. But when I'm the only one with a managerial certificate, because you have to have that in order to be a manager in a restaurant. You have to, at least in the state I live in. I don't know about everywhere, but at least in the state I live in. And I have that. That wasn't cheap. That was like $300 of my own money. They didn't pay for that. I paid for that. I could have requested that they paid for that. But I'm like, no, they're a mom and pop shop, and they're like, the owner's really nice. And, I'm not going to try to push the issue with it. I'm like, it's whatever. I'll get the money back because I should get a raise. Well, I got a raise and I'm like, okay, so I'm her highest paid employee. Well, then I found out that my male coworker who works mornings gets paid $1.50 more than I do. Well, she wasn't there yesterday. So I'm like, I'm going to be nosy. I went in and I looked. And no, he gets paid $1.75 more than I do. And he doesn't do even half the shit I do. And she's going to get mad. I already know it. It's going to cause an argument. And she's probably going to fire me today. And then she's going to get mad because I'm like, okay, I want that $300 for my managerial certificate then. Because by law, you were supposed to pay for that. I mean, I'm already looking for another job. I actually went and filled out another job with the competitor because I'm not under can't work for a competitor clause. So they're like, well, what all do you do over there? And I told them what I did over there and how much I got paid for it because I only get paid $12.25 an hour. And when I'm saying like undervalued, I literally mean undervalued. Like I can list off everything I do there that only I do, and it's still far more than what everybody else does. And they're even like, when I told them how much I got paid and what I technically am there, and they're like, you're basically getting raw dogged in the ass, like, which I mean, that's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. And I like, a lot of people are like, oh, you're nice, you're so sweet and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but then when I speak up and I say something about something that isn't right, all of a sudden I'm an asshole.
Yeah, that's always the case. That's the rap the nice ones always get, because I get that all the time at my job. I stay quiet. I mind my P's and Q's, but when I see something wrong, I'll speak up, and then it's like, oh, Tim, he's going off. He's complaining about this and that. No, I'm warning you about this, saying 5 months from now, this thing right here is going to be a major issue. Fast forward, it'll be like, well, what are we going to do to fix this? Well, didn't I warn you?
Exactly. And it's bad because I don't know if you saw it on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. I had torn a muscle, like torn and pulled my muscle, like right here, literally like right here.
Ooh.
I can't bend, I can't turn, I can't do things. I couldn't even get off my couch without wincing. My stepkid had to help me off the couch. Literally, I felt like I was pregnant or something because they had to like lift my torso off the couch because I couldn't do it without wincing in pain. And I was in the ER because of how much pain it was in. They thought it was my appendix. And the next day, my boss calls me. I wasn't scheduled. I was approved time off that entire day. And she, like, I texted. I'm like, hey, I can come in and work, but we're going to have to shut DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats off because I'm not going to be able to do all of this with new people because night shift always has these new people. Like, I won't be able to do all this with new people. I won't be able to run all of these stations because the people there don't know how to do it. Well, then she comes into work and she calls me and she's talking to me about it. And she's like, well, what can you do? And I'm like, I don't know. They put me on restrictions. I can't lift. I can't twist. I can't turn. I can't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, And she goes, well, can you work such and such station? I said, I don't know. It depends how busy we get. Well, what about this station? Again, I don't know. It depends how busy it gets. Well, what can you do? I'm like, I don't know because I don't know the unknown variable, which is how busy it gets. And she goes, that just sounds like you don't want to work.
If that was the case, why not just stay home?
I did. She got mad.
Yeah,
Because
I'm saying.
I literally just went, I I literally was like, I can try to contact my doctor and see if she can get a hold of the restriction list. And she goes, okay, you do that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I just hung up on her because I'm the only one that works there that has to get a doctor's note. I'm the one she calls every time she's short staffed. I requested today off specifically because of the podcast. Okay, because I work nights there. I had approved time off since the day you contacted me about it. Because she got bit by her cat, she tried to call me in. And
Seriously?
seriously. Like, I guess she was delirious or something yesterday. I don't fucking know. Well, not yesterday, earlier today, she's like, she called me and I ignored it. And I'm like, I'm at Spirit because I work at Spirit Halloween too. Like, I work 2 jobs, okay? Like, I'm busting my ass because I'm being undervalued at one job. I make the same amount of money at Spirit Halloween and I have 10 times less responsibility. So it's like, that should be a pretty big wake up call, you know? And I mean, it is because it's unnecessary. Well, basically what had happened was, I gave her a call back. I didn't know it was her because it wasn't underneath her number. It was underneath her fiance, husband, whatever you want to call him, his number. And I'm like, she goes, hi, Vespa. And I'm like, you need to make it fast because I'm at Spirit. I'm like, I'm not doing this. And she goes, I know you requested today off, but can you come in? And I'm like, I'm doing a podcast today. I don't know how long it is. I don't know how long it's going to take. I've done podcasts where I'm sitting here rambling and it's a 2, 3, 4 hour sometime podcast. So it's like, no, I requested it off for a reason. I'm not canceling on this just because you don't want to call anybody else in. You always call me in. Well, guess what? Now that I know I'm getting paid so much more less than people who don't do nowhere near as much work as I do, I'm not going to be your pansy anymore, your poncy or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, and yeah, and she's going to get mad because when I text her, I'm dead ass going to be like, I didn't tell anybody how much everybody else got paid. The high schoolers were already talking about how much each other got paid. And then I asked so-and-so how much he got paid because I was kind of curious if he got paid more than me considering how much work I do for you guys. Which reminds me, how come I'm supposed to be the manager, yet I don't even get paid more than the person who doesn't even do half the shit I do? That's not right.
Yeah.
My responsibilities don't match my pay, and my pay don't match my responsibilities. So now you just get the work I feel like doing at this point. And I mean, some people watching this could probably be like, you can't pick and choose what you do. You have to listen to your boss. Well, given how much I do, if you were in my shoes, you would 100% be like, no, I'm getting fucked over. I'm getting beyond.
Oh, no, I totally get that. I don't blame you. I've walked off jobs because of that, for that same reason. Like, I've walked off jobs for that same reason. But yeah, I don't blame you on that at all.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that aside, like I also said in the intro, you are an anime queen. Like, what's the big ones you're digging down into lately?
I wish I had an answer for that because of my work schedule. Like, my mom even says I'm always at this my first job. But whenever I do get the chance, I'm trying to catch up on Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm trying to catch up on Spy X Family. But like, if we're talking about like relaxing days, and people are gonna probably make fun of me for this because it's not a newer anime. I don't give a fuck. Okay, so leave your comments to yourself because I'm not taking your shit. Okay, not you, just like whoever's watching this later.
I got you. It's all
my go-to
it's all
for
good.
relaxing. My go-to for relaxing nights is Inuyasha. Huh?
Oh, I don't blame you. I used to watch the hell out of Inuyasha when I was a kid, when I was younger.
I love it.
My go-to is Cowboy Bebop. That's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, and that's how it is with Inuyasha with me. That's my
Yeah.
go-to. If I'm having like a really rough day, I go to Inuyasha because it's a nostalgic feeling. It's in
Yeah.
Sadly, we live in a world where more and more people are going towards stuff they did as a kid because of the fact that being an adult sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I've been dipping into some more slice of life kind of genre. You're probably going to laugh at this because the one I just finished up this morning was interviewing monster girls. And go ahead, get it out,
I'm
because I can
trying to
see the
think if
look
it's
on your
the one I
face.
think it is, but I'm not sure if it is. So
You'll appreciate this guilty pleasure coming out clean here, folks. Guilty pleasure, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I know,
my
definitely do not look like the type that would.
I don't know. My guilty pleasure might be just as bad because my guilty pleasure is a yaoi anime. It's a Yuri on Ice.
Not bad, not bad. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I'm so
I
mad
mean,
because we were supposed to get a movie and we haven't gotten the movie yet, and it's making me so mad because it was supposed to go over Victor's life when he was younger and going up to how he won all these gold medals, going up to, and it was supposed to show the scene where Yuri confessed his love to Victor when he was fucking drunk off his ass. And we haven't gotten it yet. And that was so many years ago that they actually canceled the project. And I'm like,
oh man.
are you kidding me? Like, all those years wasted. I was waiting for that. I was like, ugh. And then another guilty pleasure of mine is Oran High School Host Club and Kamasami Kiss. Those are two of my guilty pleasure. Like another
Nice. You know, do you remember what your gateway one was that got you into it?
Inuyasha.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I know most people typically will say like it was something like that or Dragon Ball, and I never judge. I never judge. Mine's was an old one. It was called Ronin Warriors. It came out in like mid to late 80s. It would
uh,
come on and yeah, it would come on like Saturday mornings at like 7 or 8 in the morning, and they would and I was a kid watching it, and I would just see it, and I was so enthralled, and it was growing up in Philadelphia, we had this one channel. We all called it the International Channel because they would just show different things from all different countries at any point in time. So, like, unless you had a good idea on how their schedule worked, you never knew what you were watching. But I knew what time the lucha stuff would come on and would not understand a single word of the commentary. I would just watch the lucha wrestling, and I knew what times the animes would come on. Like, I was watching the Cell Saga just as the Namek Saga was ending in
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z. So I was catching all of that stuff, and I was just like, oh wow. Yeah. And I just remembered, I told you I had to tell you this story. It's about an anime story. When during lockdown with the pandemic, I was finding different things to try and keep my son occupied. And one of them was we would do an anime night. Because when he was younger during that time, he was really into it. Like he would watch every Tuesday we would go through an anime. His big ones were Mob Psycho 100, My
I like
Hero
it.
Academia. Yeah, My Hero Academia. He dug Yu Yu Hakusho, and I went and I showed him the original Dragon Ball. He's watching it, and right out of nowhere he looks at the TV and then me. Dad, you remind me of Master Roshi. It's because we're both bald and bearded? No, you both get nosebleeds and act funny around pretty women. Ow. 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 Straight, yeah.
Then don't let him
Never let
watch
it be said.
Inuyasha. He's probably gonna be like, Dad, you're like Moroku.
Oh no, he'll just wind up being like I'm afraid of on how he'll react with that. Or having help with One Piece with Sanjay.
I love Sanjay.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I know you got the One Piece on your arm, right?
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, because I knew
I mean,
you got the
can't
One
see the
Piece.
mesh, but actually, you kind of can. Like,
Yeah, I could see it kind of. Yeah, I got the brand of sacrifice from Berserk right here on my chest. And he asked me about that one. I'm like, no, no, no. You are way too young for Berserk yet. You are too young for Berserk.
Hold up, we're gonna wait on that one. Like my
Yeah.
stepkid, waiting till my stepkid will ask me because they're 15 now, and they're like, "So is this the year I can watch Seven Deadly Sins?" And I'm like, "No." Like I twitching and everything. I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, like you can't."
Like,
No,
no.
like
Who thought it was
yeah,
a good idea to have the kid be in charge? No, you can't let them watch that.
like my nephews love watching anime, and my sister doesn't watch really anime, so she knows I watch it, and I know quite a few people who watch it and everything. So she'll ask me, um, "Is such and such a good anime?" And I'm like, "Well, I could never really get into it, but I know some like." My stepkid, for example, they've seen all of like Black Clover, basically, and that was the anime she was asking about. So I'm like, well, I can never really get into Black Clover, so but let me ask my stepkid. It's my stepkid, and my stepkid's like, yeah. But then I asked my stepkid's stepdad, and he goes, no, probably not because the story is a little complex. And I'm like, well, my nephews watch One Piece and they can keep up with that. And he goes, well, I mean, they might be able to, but that's kind of iffy. So I let my sister know, and my sister just said, she goes, I just told him Aunt Pizza said no. That's what they call me. They call me Aunt Pizza.
And it's all
So
good.
yeah, but no, don't get me started on Sanjay. He is
Yeah, he
the
could be a
thing.
bit of a, let's see, how do the kids call it properly today? A bit of a man whore,
Yeah, see,
I
that's what
believe
people
is the
keep
term.
saying, but I'm like, no, I don't know. I think if he was to get into an actual relationship like he did with Pudding, spoiler alert, like he did with Pudding, he kind of almost like immediately stopped his womanizing ways. He was solely focused on her, and then he overheard her say some really mean things. And then he's kind of like, fuck you too, kind of situation. But I don't know. I feel like he would definitely be that kind of man that comes off as a massive woman, like womanizer, a man whore, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like as soon as he got with someone who was as devoted to him as he was to her, he'd like stop because he did it with Pudding. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
told
I
my
get that.
kid, I'm like, if I could find one person in anime in One Piece, it would be that bitch. Like, come here, you hurt my French husband. Come here, like, square up. So,
Yeah, yeah. I keep trying to think like if I was gonna fight somebody from an anime. Nah, because all the ones that I watch, all the people in it, they could wind up kicking my ass 6 different ways. Like I guarantee if I tried to pick a fight with Spike and Bebop, he'd wind up throwing me like he'd shatter my arm before I could even get a chance to cock it back.
yeah, I mean, I'm horrible. My stepkid has heard me say some pretty fucked up shit because we stream Dead by Daylight on Twitch together. So they hear me say some fucked up shit. Like there's this thing, dead ass. I have a video on my TikTok where we are facing Pyramid Head, and I was trying to like smack his dick, right? Not like literally, but like I was trying to make it look like I was. And he stopped. He looked, and then you hear my stepkid in the video go, "Did you just tame the killer?" And then killer just hits me, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm just trying to play diddly whack with your ball sack." And there's like a whole ass story where that saying came from. So that story is actually pretty funny. I was playing with my friend. Ironically, my wrestling character is named after her. Like Shayla is my best friend. We've been best friends for 12 years. And we were facing a Michael Myers. So it's referred to as the Shape in Dead by Daylight. And Michael Myers killed everybody. And I'm like, all right, it's you and one last survivor. You're probably going to be the next killed. She just starts laughing in the mic. And I'm like, what the fuck did you do? So I go and I spectate. And I'm spectating her. And I'm like, stop playing diddly whack with Michael Myers' ball sack. And she goes, no, he likes the leader's big ass. And she just keeps doing it. And I'm like, Oh my God. So now if you ever watch a stream of mine and I am playing Dead by Daylight, you're gonna hear diddly whack with the ball sack at least one time. At least one time. And then sometimes I even end the stream where I'm just sitting there and I'm like, remember people, the killer can't traumatize you if you traumatize the killer first. Like
Folks, keep that in mind. That is a healthy tip to remember in the event somebody ever tries to abduct you.
Yes. Also, if anyone tries to abduct you, don't yell help, yell fire. Do you know that? That's
good sense.
Yeah, because usually when people yell help, ironically, they're yelling because they need help and no one stops. But if you yell fire, people stop and they start looking.
I think I saw that in what was it? That one movie. Seven. They mentioned that in that one movie, Seven. It had Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in it.
Is that the one with the box?
Yep. What's in the box? What's in the box? That is a running joke I do with everyone in my family. If I got a package and they see like, Tim, you got a package. Oh, okay. Come on. You gonna ask? Fine. What's in the box? They'll do that. We'll do that. We can all be a bunch of assholes to each other.
Tell me about it. I'm the youngest of 8, not including steps. So
I get that. I'm the youngest in mine too. So yeah, the youngest, we got to stick together on this. We know on how to take it just as good as we get it.
Well, my eldest, I call him the Thing. The Thing doesn't know how to take shits. So he's one of those people that if he's losing an argument, he'll whip his phone out and Google it.
Yeah, that's like what I was saying earlier about with the coffee. Like, you lightweight. I drank like 2 or 3 of those just to shake the cobwebs out and get my day started. Like, you don't care that it's happening. I'm okay. You're good, man. It's all in your head.
Because after you get done with the original buzz, you'll be fine. Just calm down. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Honey, it's coffee. You know this stuff. You know how it works.
What is that? What is that saying? Not that saying. It was a viral audio, and it goes, "Calm down, calm down." And like it's this lady in the door, and she's cussing, and she's bitching because this couple had like music on that was cussing, and the lady goes, "Why are you cussing? Your kids right there." My kids are listening to Kids Bop. Like, and she's just like, calm down. And she's literally going like this with her hands as if she's talking to a little kid. And I'm like, I could never. I have too much fuck around find out. So
yeah, I get that. Way too much on that here. It's all in part of the environment where you grow up. You got to learn on how to throw real quick. Like, okay, you're gonna mess. You're gonna have to square then. That's on how it goes sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's exactly how it goes sometimes. And it sucks because it shouldn't be like that. Like I had my mom, she was very much one of those parents, I don't want to hear the fighting, take it outside. So me being a twin, me and my twin would get into physical altercations. And I actually remembered this because she brings it up a lot. When we were kids, like I'm talking about like not even, this was before I broke my arm. So this was like 15 years age, 13 in there. So we were like teenagers. And she was dating someone that was a couple years younger than us. And she got mad because I'd call her a pedophile. I mean, because she would make fun of me because I had growth hormone deficiency growing up. So I was like really small, like not in like shape. Like I looked like an Oompa Loompa and she called me Oompa Loompa all the time. And I got tired of it. And I'm like, well, at least I'm not a pedophile. And then she'd sit right on my chest. And mind you, like my bone age isn't the actual age of my physical body. So I'm 29, but my bone age right now is probably closer to 27 to 25. When I was younger, when I was like 15, 16, and 17, my bone age was 12. When I was 13, 12 years of age. My bone age was like 9. So obviously having all that pressure, my bones can't, like, I can't do what I need to do to be able to breathe. And she'd get mad because I'd call her a fat cow. And she likes to bring that up. And because I tell her, I said, the things you've done to me as an adult is far more worse than the things I did to you as a kid. And she goes, you can't say that. I said, yes, I can. Because at the age of 25, your brain's fully developed. You were fully aware what you were doing. You are fully aware of the aftermath of the words. As kids, we're not fully aware of that. So it makes it so much worse. So I've actually cut contact with my twin. So it's a good healing process.
Yeah, sometimes you got to cut bait for your own mental health. I get that.
Yeah. And like, I mean, some people will probably be like, well, it's family. Okay, but my family would put the Kardashians out of business, okay? And I mean, like, some people joke about that, but like my family literally would put the Kardashians out of business. There's 8 of us. We get into a room and a lot of us are very much like fight on sight. So, well, I mean,
I get that. Yeah.
8 of us, but now only 7 of us are alive. So,
yeah, that's pretty much on how my family goes. Like we could be we'll get at each other's throats tooth and nail, you know. But the second somebody outside family says something, we'll just want to be like, well, wait, what'd they say?
Yeah, exactly.
5 minutes, 5 minutes, and we'll stop, and then we go take care of that, and we're like, we still finishing this, or are we cool?
Yeah, like, what side of the coin are we on today? Like,
yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And yeah, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. It's insane. And people always crack me up because I have a friend who's a only child from her mom. She grew up with her mom. Her dad isn't in the picture. Her dad never wanted to be in the picture, but she has siblings. She doesn't know them. So she grew up as an only child. So when I'm talking about shit that's happened like when I was younger, she goes, well, Kenny, have you just done this, this, and this? And I'm like, you shut your only sibling ass mouth up, okay? You don't know how it is. Like,
if you're an only child, you don't get the deal.
Yeah, you don't get how it goes. So
yeah. So, you know, I say this to everyone I say this to everyone all the time. Thank you for taking the time to come on here today. I do appreciate it. You know, you could have been out there doing a million different other things, but you chose to sit here. You always got my thanks for that, my gratitude on it. You're more than welcome to come back anytime.
I can come back after I start wrestling again. Next month.
There you go. Any idea on any hints or idea on when?
It's towards the end of next month. I can't give away the promotion because the owner wants it to be a surprise, and the promoter wants it to be a surprise, and I can't even give hints on the location because it will give it away. So
not a problem then. Not a problem. Well, if they wanted hush hush, we can respect that boundary.
Yeah, but in Indiana in October, more than likely.
Okay, well, folks, keep that in mind. That's any socials, any plugs, any links or projects that you're working on, by all means, the floor is yours. Feel free to plug them all.
Well, I mean, they can always follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Likeable Ms. Hyde. TikTok at, what is my TikTok? What's my TikTok? I'm making my stepkid look it up. I think it's like a Toku wrestler, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, it's a Toku wrestler.
All right, so my TikTok is a Toku wrestler, and then if you wanted to follow me on Twitch and see my hilarious ass more often when I'm in the mood, anyways, it's Becoming Karma, because I feel like I'm in my karma state now.
There you go. Again, thank you again for taking the time to come on. I do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do podcasts. So you can always hit me up to do a podcast. I'm A-okay with that. I love doing podcasts. It's fun to me.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks.